And then lastly, I would like to generate a surplus in the minimal amount of $3 million that we can transfer to the municipal budget to reduce our property taxes and stay consistent with the practice that we've had since 1994.
Robert, okay, so I know we've talked, and I pretty much understand this, but can I just go over this for the people that are here and whoever's going to view this? So is it safe to say that from the contract to current, with the drop of usage in addition, that's where we are having our huge problems? Would that be correct to say?
Well, yes, we have significant increased costs over and above what we thought we were going to incur, moving from the Detroit Edison contract to the Constellation contract. And once again, moving to the Detroit Edison contract, which was for a period of a short 17 months, our costs did increase 97%.
Right.
Essentially, we went from, in round numbers, $7.5 million to $15 million for purchase power, all in the course of 1 year. We still haven't captured the $7.5 million.
We didn't pass that along.
Correct.
To the ratepayer.
Correct.
Okay.
Robert, what is, I'm sorry.
And once again, as you say, the reduced usage.
Okay. Yeah, the reduced usage absolutely has something to do with it.
7 million kilowatt hours.
But let me ask
lower.
this. The contract that was signed, I believe, if I remember correctly, in the summer of 2008, what is the term, the length or term of that contract?
It's a 5-year contract that runs from June 1st, 2009 to May 31st, 2014.
Okay. So in your best professional opinion, no one can guess what we're looking for is, price of oil, the economy, good, bad, recession, depression, a boom. But in your best professional opinion, what are we looking at moving forward? What kind of things do you expect to see us in 2011? I'll even go, hopefully you could even extrapolate it out to 2012, 13 and 14, way too far out. But like over the next 12 to 24 months, what do you think?
That's quite difficult.
I know, it's not an easy question.
Very, very, very difficult. The behavior of the demand and the transmission, particularly the demand costs, going from 196,000 to 260,000. That's based upon a formula from the PJM, the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland grid, of which we have no control over. That's completely off the table. We cannot wrap our hands around that. In addition, I don't know what the consumption is. In my 21 years here, I've never seen a year where we backed up this much in terms of the purchases and therefore the consumption from the final consumer.
Do you think it would be safe to say that we would be back here next year again?
Yes.
Do you think it would be safe to say?
If the council decides to continue with the transfers from the electric utility to the municipal budget.
Assuming that we just stay with historics for a moment, because we could get into the other side of that, which would be, 5 days and 5 nights of discussion. But assuming that the historics stay the way they are today, would it be safe to say we would be coming back roughly this time next year?
Yes.
Would it be safe to say we'll be roughly?
Actually, I would prefer to. Well, no, yes. This
Well,
would be good because once again, as I said to you the last time I met with you, basing a rate decision on 12 months of actual information, we're working with certainty.
Right.
So yes.
Okay.
That would be my my recommendation. I discussed that with Ray as well. I think it's more intelligent to have all of my cost information, all the cash receipts information with which to base a rate decision with.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I think there's, excuse me, just 1 second. I think it's just 2 factors we have to underscore, and that one is that we didn't pass along the huge increase in the purchase power contract as other towns did. When we signed this contract, we got the best we thought we could get at the time. The other is that it was an unusual year. I mean, if I put the air conditioning on in my house 1 day, I would think that was a lot. And then we've had a very rainy, wet time. So people are just not using the electric the way they have. I can tell you, though, it does hurt. I mean, just so you see the bill from putting Christmas lights on, $181 for my electric bill. It's like unheard of for our household. But, you know, these are the strange factors and things that are coming together at one time. And I think people have to realize, you know, we've tried to absorb as much as we could going along. Ms. Bailey?
Oh, thank you. Robert, what would be the percentage increase to cover the actual cost of power, the cost of poles, the cost of transmission, cost of service? I mean, we have outstanding service here in Madison. That is something that sets us apart from JCP&L and PSE&G. So, but what would that percentage increase be? Just to cover that cost, as opposed to having the surplus that then goes to offset taxes?
Well, would be less than the 15%.
Would it be, can you give some indication? It's going to be 10%?
Actually, let me look at this. This is what we discussed 2 weeks ago.
Right. I've got
Okay.
it here.
And your question then is, what would be the increase to generate a break even? Is that
Yes,
what
with
I'm
all
understanding?
factors, you know, the cost of the poles, the cost of the power, the cost of the transmission, service, you know, whatever is necessary to run the electric utility
Okay, well,
to the people of Madison.
okay, I'll give you a number, and then I'm going to give you a caveat, though.
Okay.
It would be less than 6%, but I can't drain all the surplus from the electric utility and then continue to run the electric utility and pay Constellation Energy for the energy that we purchased in the previous month when I haven't collected the cash receipts for it.
Right.
We're in a position where I can't operate that way.
All right, so you have to have the cushion in order to be able to pay for the contract. So that's just a factor that you
Yes.
have no,
So the
can't
million
take
should be
anywhere.
that was
Yeah,
$1
that
million.
has to be
So
considered.
that should be factored into your,
Yeah,
so now you're talking more than the 6%.
As well as,
Yeah.
Yeah,
as
you
well
should-
as capital going forward, capital projects.
right.
To
So
maintain the utility.
So factor those in. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to show that perhaps the surplus percentage isn't as, you know, great as what it actually costs, that we're, you know, it's actually a benefit for the people overall to have this tax increase. It's never a benefit to have a tax increase, but to have this because it covers a wider group of people than our taxes, right? For example, who does it cover?
The tax exempts.
Yeah, the tax exempts, the nonprofits. They
Yes.
don't pay taxes, but they do pay electric fees.
Yes.
So then what would be the percentage increase based on what the mayor just said and Bob Connolly about we have to cover the cost of being able to pay the contract?
Well,
Is it just slightly under 15%?
these are good questions. I actually wasn't prepared.
I
for this.
guess
Okay.
another way to quickly,
Okay.
my math might be wrong, but in round numbers, cash receipts last year were 20 million.
Yeah, about 19.5 million.
So I was going round.
But that included one-time cash receipts from the borough and the library for 5 months that we're not going to see.
Okay, so we're losing that. So, but just using my round numbers because my math works better that way.
We have my,
We're $3 million represents 15% of the total.
yes.
So that's,
Well, that, once again, when we had this discussion 2 weeks ago, I'm only assuming that we're going to collect 90 cents on the dollar
right.
through
But what I'm trying to,
reductions in consumption, which
Yeah.
we can't quantify, and delinquencies in the collections.